We live in a society that glorifies the grind, where busyness is worn like a badge of honor and rest is equated with laziness. But beneath the motivational quotes and productivity hacks lies a quieter reality. Our brains are paying the price. Welcome to Neurosocium, the channel where we explore how modern life shapes the mind. In this video, we'll unpack the hidden neurological cost of hustle culture, how our pursuit of non-stop productivity is reshaping our dopamine systems, fragmenting our attention, and eroding emotional well-being. The allure of the hustle. Why is hustle culture so seductive? In a capitalist system that equates value with output, being constantly busy becomes a marker of worth. This idea is reinforced not only through corporate expectations, but also through social comparison. When everyone around you is grinding, taking a break feels like falling behind. Social media has supercharged this pressure. Platforms are flooded with curated content, showcasing early mornings, long work days, and no days off attitudes. Influencers package productivity as a lifestyle, turning workaholism into entertainment. This constant exposure reshapes our beliefs about success. We begin to associate stillness with stagnation and convince ourselves that if we're not producing, we're not progressing. But this constant striving isn't just a mindset. It begins to alter the neurochemical landscape of our brain, especially our dopamine system. Dopamine and the drive for more. Dopamine is often called the reward chemical, but it's more accurately a motivation chemical. It fuels our drive toward goals. Every time we complete a task, receive praise, or cross something off our to-do list, our brain delivers a small dopamine hit. It feels good, and so we do more. But our dopamine system is not built for constant stimulation. Over time, repeated bursts of dopamine from productivity milestones lead to what neuroscientists call dopaminergic habituation. The brain adjusts by lowering its baseline dopamine sensitivity. Tasks that once felt satisfying now barely register emotionally. This explains why people deeply immersed in hustle culture often feel empty or unmotivated during downtime. Their brain has been rewired to crave intensity, urgency, and forward motion. According to Dr. Anna Lemke of Stanford University, this cycle mirrors patterns seen in behavioral addiction. We don't just work to get things done, we work to feel something. The burnout brain. But the brain can only sprint for so long. Extended periods of overwork activate the body's stress response, releasing cortisol to keep us alert and on task. While helpful in short bursts, chronic exposure to cortisol impairs the prefrontal cortex, the brain's command center for decision-making, planning, and emotional regulation. Eventually, we reach a breaking point, burnout. According to the World Health Organization, burnout is characterized not just by exhaustion, but also by detachment, cynicism, and decreased performance. Neuroimaging studies have shown that prolonged burnout leads to structural changes in the brain, including reduced volume in areas tied to empathy, memory, and mood regulation. And the recovery process isn't quick. Burnout recovery can take months or even years depending on its severity. It's not just about resting, it's about repairing a brain that has been systematically overdriven. The hijacked attention span. Hustle culture doesn't just demand more hours, it demands more inputs, more emails, more tabs, more context switches. This fragmented way of working is especially damaging to our attention. Every time we switch between tasks, our brain experiences what psychologists call attention residue, the cognitive drag from leaving one task behind while trying to engage with another. According to a study from the University of California, Irvine, it takes over 20 minutes on average to return to deep focus after an interruption, and most of us are interrupted dozens of times per day. As our minds adapt to this overstimulated environment, we start to lose our capacity for sustained concentration. This makes deep work, the kind of focused, high-value thinking that creates real impact, almost impossible. And ironically, the more distracted we become, the harder it is to recognize just how distracted we are. Rest isn't a luxury, it's biological maintenance. So, what happens when we actually stop and rest? Contrary to hustle culture's messaging, rest is not wasted time. It's one of the brain's most vital operations. During sleep and downtime, the brain's glymphatic system clears away waste proteins that accumulate during waking hours. This detox process has been linked to long-term brain health and reduced risk of neurodegenerative disease. Meanwhile, the default mode network, active when we're not focused on tasks, lights up during moments of rest. This network supports introspection, memory consolidation, and emotional processing. These rest-driven functions are essential for creativity, perspective, and mental clarity. Without them, we become reactive, foggy, and emotionally brittle. In other words, rest isn't a reward reward for working hard. It's the foundation that makes high-quality work possible in the first place. So, what's the real cost? So, what's the true price of never slowing down? The hustle may build resumes and pad our productivity metrics, but it erodes the very things that make life meaningful: presence, connection, and peace of mind. Studies increasingly show that when we sacrifice sleep, relationships, and personal time in the name of performance, we don't actually perform better. We just burn through our cognitive resources faster. Our brains become wired for hyper-efficiency but lose the ability to savor, reflect, or feel fulfilled. Even our sense of identity begins to shift. Instead of being human beings, we become human doings, defined not by who we are, but by what we produce. Long-term exposure to hustle culture also correlates with increased anxiety, depressive symptoms, and social isolation. In constantly trying to optimize our lives, we often neglect the emotional and relational nutrients that actually sustain us, like downtime, spontaneity, and genuine connection. And that's the paradox of hustle culture. In trying to do everything, we lose touch with why we were doing it in the first place. Hustle culture wants you to believe your worth is tied to your output, but your brain and your life were built for more than endless productivity. If this resonated with you, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. When was the last time you truly rested, and what did your mind feel like afterward? Let's rethink the grind together.